this is my review of My Hero Academia. Okay, so in this episode, Bakugo and Deku's feelings for each other are actually laid bare while they fight, and that's mainly what the fight's about. It's about how they both admire All Might, and both of them kind of wants to surpass each other, but neither of them really know what it is they need to do to surpass one another. So Bakugo's actually the one who starts the fight. He throws the first punch at Deku, and Deku dodges. And during the fight, they exchange several blows. And during the fight, Bakugo actually reveals that he actually feels responsible for All Might's retirement because he believes that that if he had been stronger and hadn't been captured by villains, that All Might probably wouldn't have been captured in the first place. Meanwhile, Deku is trying to stand up for himself and trying to point out that he's no longer going to be Bakugo's punching bag. And at which point both of their feelings toward one each other are laid bare, where Bakugo reveals that he believes that Deku looks down on him despite being weaker than him. And Deku reveals that that's not true and that he actually admires Bakugo and wants to beat him. And eventually they do come to blows and start going all out. But during this fight, Deku accidentally goes beyond 5%, up to 8%. And after realizing that he had actually gotten stronger and didn't realize it, he realized he'd gotten stronger enough to actually go up a couple of notches. And while it is kind of a bit of a minute difference, it does make Deku a lot faster and a lot harder to deal with. Although Bakugo still manages to defeat him, especially when Deku actually starts throwing punches, pointing out that while he doesn't want to overuse his arms, he never said he couldn't use them. So he manages to throw a punch, but he winds up getting caught, and Deku and Bakugo go crashing down. While all this is happening, a security drone actually captures the whole incident and relays it back to Mr. Aizawa, who goes to break up the fight, but is actually stopped by All Might at the door, who explains why they're actually fighting and goes to break it up himself. And sure enough, he shows up several minutes later after they've started fighting, and starts to explain exactly what the situation is. So he explains to Bakugo that the reason he gave Deku his quirk is because he realized that Deku couldn't stand for himself but had more heroic spirit than anybody he ever met, so he decided to pick Deku as his new successor. And also explains that Bakugo isn't allowed to really tell anybody about it because if he did, then it would become a really big problem. And Bakugo agrees, and after this, Deku and Bakugo become proper rivals. They're not exactly friends, but they are now proper rivals. They now realize that they need to adopt what the other one lacks in order to become better heroes. So in order to surpass one another, they need to adopt some of the traits one another has. So yeah, now Bakugo and Deku are proper rivals, and they've now at the very least somewhat repaired the relationship. They haven't exactly fixed what's wrong with them, but they are friendlier. But they are friendlier toward each other, as shown by the end of the episode. Unfortunately, they kind of get punished a little bit because, well, sneaking out during curfew and starting a fight is kind of a problem. And while All Might is more than willing to take the rap for the kids on his behalf, pointing out that the reason they fought was his fault and that he wasn't a very good teacher to them. Mr. Aizawa notes that while it is All Might's fault, he does have to punish the kids because, well, they did kind of start a fight anyway. So he puts them under house arrest, Bakugo for 4 days and Deku for 3, and they're forced to clean the 1A dorms for those 3 days. So yeah, they get punished, but they are notably a lot more friendly because while they're being forced to clean, they do unfortunately have to miss the opening ceremony for the second semester. But Bakugo does give Deku feedback on his shoot style, explaining what he does wrong with it, and what he could improve on. So pointing out that yes, throwing in punches was a nice touch, but also points out that he needs to work on making his movements harder to read, because they're a bit obvious, even for somebody who was a little bit faster for him. To put it simply, Bakugo was still able to read Deku's movements even after he got faster. So that's what Deku really needs to work on. But overall, it was a pretty good episode. It shows that now Deku and Bakugo are going to be working together to try and not only repair their damaged relationship, but to also push each other to go even further beyond. So now they're actually going to become proper rivals, and they're actually going to push each other to get better. So, yeah, that's mainly what the episode was. It was about Deku and Bakugo reconciling with their differences, realizing that the two do have a mutual respect for one another, and realize that they need to actually push themselves to become better than one another, while also trying to surpass one another. So they're gradually going to get stronger, so that they can and then become proper rivals and become proper heroes. So, yeah, for the most part, that was what this episode was. So, if you guys did enjoy this episode of My Hero Academia and my review of it, then what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that are my way of saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!